What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quartering, and it's happening. 50% of the IRS scheduled to be fired. 45,000 IRS agents. Now, I want to say this, okay? I am sure there are good people that work at the IRS. I'm positive there is, just the outright numbers. I mean, even when I got audited, the IRS agent that I worked with was very reasonable and understanding and stuff. So I don't like to pretend like everyone that works for this agency is an evil monster. The agency itself, I do not care for, and I think America would be much better off without it. But I don't want to pretend like I'm celebrating, regular people getting fired. But 45,000 of the 90,000 total IRS agents is a pretty big cut. And Twitter, of course, is massively celebrating. In each video today, I'm reminding people, asking people to check out Quartercast. I'm live every day at 1 Eastern. If you're willing to, download the Rumble app and follow the Quartering there and watch every day at 1 Eastern. Or if you prefer to just stay on YouTube, I still hope you'll tune in. So Quartercast is where I live stream at the same time. There's clips, there's a live stream. It's me, Hannah Claire, Luke Rutkowski, Melanie Mack, Sticks Hexenhammer, and much more every day. So if you don't watch the live show, there's still clips, and I'm trying to get us to 100,000 subscribers by my birthday, which is just a month away at this point. So it's linked in the description. I hope that you'll follow on one of the two platforms and tune in at least to some of the clips. IRS workforce reduction, 45,000 jobs on the line. The Internal Revenue Service is developing plans to significantly reduce its workforce, aiming to cut as many as half of its 90,000 employees. Initiative includes not only layoffs, but also attrition and incentivized departures. Additionally, more than 110 IRS offices offering taxpayer assistance are slated for closure. This move is part of a broader effects by Trump administration to decrease the size of federal government. So if I'm in the IRS, take the buyout. And hopefully, and again, I'm actually in favor of an extremely generous buyout. I don't care if these people get a full year salary. I don't care. Because, look, they didn't agree to do maybe some of the bad things that the IRS did. Give them a year's salary and let them go find another job and double dip for a whole year. I don't care. Severance is something that I've always offered my employees, even on the Quartering. I try to pay everyone a severance if I have to let someone go. So I'm not against that. And I'm fine waiting another year to realize those savings. You see, Justin, IRS drafts plans to fire half of its 90,000 person workforce. When you realize that they can cut 50% of the staff because they're now using AI to be 50% more competent, that's true. Remember when Biden was planning on adding 80,000? So if you think about that, it's actually a reduction of 125,000 out of 170,000 roughly. How can they cut 45,000 people without getting critically bad? Must mean there's a lot of fluff in there. Yes. Now the Democrats are going to panic signal to the American people and say, well, you're not going to get your tax returns on time. You're not going to get your tax returns on time. That's what's going to happen because of this. Look, I shouldn't be getting a tax return. You shouldn't be taking more money than you're supposed to. In fact, you should be taking far less money than you are. Where I live in Wisconsin, the taxes are so bad for local businesses that I have seriously considered moving states. And the only reason I didn't is to stay after my dad passed away, to stay for my mom. Otherwise, I'd be in Tennessee almost certainly by now. It's absolutely bonkers. So to fire half, obviously the world is erupting. I can't believe this is my life. Let's go. Why do they even need 45,000? Heck yeah, zero chance of them having the resources to go after high net worth individuals who evade taxes now. Luckily, they'll still be able to audit low earners. That is a false equivalency. They could just basically exclusively spend their time auditing people who are actually committing tax fraud. Of course, the New York Times says losing half of its employees would severely strap the IRS, meaning Americans here. I told you they would do this. Americans may have to wait to receive their tax refunds. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. I also don't believe that. I believe that they'll be fine. I mean, April is a month away and they haven't fired anyone yet. So it's not going to affect my tax return this year. And hopefully there's new tax laws, meaning that I have to pay less in next year. Hopefully the government won't owe me money back, to be honest with you. Hopefully they won't overtake. Trump administration has been preparing a reduction in force plans for agencies across the government as part of its next phase of its rapidly slash of the federal government. It's unclear how quickly the next batch of terminations could take place at the IRS and how it will affect specific departments there. The tax collector is in the middle of reviewing American tax returns as part of its annual filing season. Officials have delayed some firings until the busy period ends in spring, which makes sense. So again, New York Times is willingly lying about the tax returns. They know that nobody cares about the IRS, only about their tax returns. So that's what they're going to say. But tax returns, but tax returns. You know what? If the government didn't take more money than they're owed, this wouldn't be a problem, would it? And DOGE just can't stop winning. Now, even though the Supreme Court, in whatever reason today, overturned and is forcing the U.S. government to send this $2 billion in foreign aid out, even Democrats couldn't resist at laughing at some of this stuff that Trump listed off. Look at this.
$40 million to improve the social and economic inclusion of sedentary migrants. Nobody knows what that is.
What is a sedentary migrant?
$8 million to promote LGBTQI+.
Oh, we forgot I.
In the African nation of Lesotho, which nobody has ever heard of.
His comedic timing is gold.
$60 million for indigenous peoples and Afro-Colombian empowerment in Central America. $60 million. $8 million for making mice transgender.
Did you know part of that research was actually trying to discover, I could be wrong about this, but I think I remember it saying that they discovered that washing the uterus in estrogen would make the mice gay, meaning, you know, they could be reverse engineering a literal gay gene. And also, like, ultimately, you know, maybe those were some spicy scientists who were working on a quote unquote cure. I don't know. They got a lot of money for it. You see this. This is a must watch. Trump lists off a bunch of insane scams that the U.S. taxpayers were funding before DOGE.
Just listen to some of the appalling waste we have already identified. $22 billion from HHS to provide free housing and cars for illegal aliens. $45 million for diversity, equity, and inclusion scholarships in Burma.
In Burma, yeah,
$40
why not?
million to
Is it
improve
Myanmar now
the
or Burma?
social
I don't
and
know.
economic inclusion of sedentary migrants. Nobody knows what that is.
It's so
$8 million
funny.
to promote LGBTQI+ in the African nation of Lesotho, which nobody has ever heard of. $60 million for indigenous peoples and Afro-Colombian empowerment in Central America. $60 million. $8 million for making mice transgender.
Yeah.
This is real. $32 million for a left-wing propaganda operation in Moldova.
Why not?
$10 million for male circumcision in Mozambique.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
$20 million
Why?
for the Arab Sesame Street in the Middle East. It's a program. $20 million for a program. $1.9 billion to recently created Decarbonization of Homes Committee, headed up, and we know she's involved. Just at the last moment, the money was passed over
Oops.
by a woman named Stacey Abrams. Have you ever?
Boo. Boo.
A $3.5 million
There's Elon.
consulting contract for lavish fish monitoring. $1.5 million for voter confidence in Liberia. $14 million.
It's like, oh, it starts out like a normal thing, and then it's like, oh wait, it's in a weirdo foreign country. You see President Trump thank Elon Musk for his contributions to DOGE. The crowd erupted in cheers as the president introduced him.
Perhaps you've heard of it. Perhaps.
Don't do the hand sign. Don't do the hand signal. Don't do it, Elon. No.
Elon Musk, who is in the gallery tonight.
Look at all their Ukraine pins. Salty, salty, salty broad. Her body will be preserved forever. You know, I mean, the DOGE stuff, this was just a few days ago. Breaking, DOGE just canceled 297 DEI-related contracts, totaling over $1.4 billion. Not million, billion. Billion. And the ceiling value was $2 billion. Now, again, I am hopeful that this gets returned back to the people in some form of lower taxes. I have no issue with the check. I know a lot of smarter people than me say it's better to pay down debt, but I'm dumb and I'll take that check. I'm sorry. I'm dumb and I'll take the $5,000 check, and my wife will too. You know, it's been a tight year, and it'll be nice to reinvest that into the show. The Department of DOGE announced Tuesday that Inter-American Foundation has removed all but one employee from its payroll in order to comply with President Trump's executive order on reducing federal bureaucracy. Inter-American Foundation, what do, you may say? Nobody knows. The move was not well received by the agency, which prior to the downsizing had a headcount of 48. The average employee salary was $131,000 a year. We do not consider the assignment of Peter Morocco to the role of board chairman to be a valid appointment as required by the IAF's enabling statute. Blah, 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 blah. Here's, Areola asked to deny access, but Morocco and DOGE officials marched to the agency's headquarters, D.C. on Monday, and officially declared Morocco to be in charge and demanded the IA data and names of the organization's guarantees, sources told to the paper. The Inter-American Foundation, created in 1969, issues grants to countries in Latin America and the Caribbean for, quote, localized community-led development. The entire agency's job is to send Americans tax dollars overseas. Shut it down. I'll let you know when Americans have too much money. Some of the things they've donated to: $900,000 for alpaca farming in Peru, $365,000 to reduce social discrimination of people who recycle in Bolivia, $800,000 for vegetable gardens in El Salvador, $300,000 to promote cultural understanding of Venezuelan migrants in Brazil, $731,000 to improve marketability of mushrooms and peas in Guatemala. Shut it down. Shut it all down. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you leave a like on it. If you haven't yet, please subscribe or follow down below. We'll talk to you again real soon.